More cup drama could be on the cards at Elland Road tonight. A red-hot date at Old Trafford awaits the winners of Leeds and Kettering. Neither side needs encouragement in this second-round replay. 10 days ago, the two sides met at Rockingham Road, where a Jermaine Beckford strike spared Leeds blushes.
Kettering Town in need of a sprinkle of the FA Cup's magic dust. Crisis Club meets recovering Crisis Club. He's gone for the chip and it wasn't very far away. We have a real cup tie. Beckford hits the other side of the crossbar.
Keep going, keep doing as you're doing, keep believing, keep the shape, and hopefully it'll stay as it is, or we might nick a winner.
Hit first time by Islam. It's Roper and Kettering Town have taken the lead here. And another save by Harper. It's in from Beckford. Standing ovation for Kettering Town.
It's going to be really hard for us, but we'll go and give it our best shot.
Manchester United, Kettering Town or Leeds United.
Good evening, a warm welcome then to Elland Road, home of Leeds United. The League One leaders up against the Blue Square Conference Premier side, Kettering Town. Of course, you may remember Leeds went out to non-league Histon at this stage last year, and both sides will see the prospect of a trip to Old Trafford as the perfect team talk for tonight. Robbie Earl pitchside here with me. It's not quite Rockingham Road, Elland Road, is it?
No, but it'll be rocking about. They're talking, what, maybe 12,000 in here tonight, but they'll make some noise because there's a massive prize for the winner tonight, a match away at Old Trafford.
Let's pick through the two teams. Simon Grayson has made some changes, including...
Yeah, we wondered whether things were going well in the league, whether he would make changes at both full-backs. Andy Hughes comes in, young Aidan White gets a start at left-back, and up front, Becchio comes in for Grella. But you'll expect much of the same from Leeds. Kilkenny and Doyle in the midfield, winning those scraps and getting the balls to Snodgrass and Houghton to deliver for the front two.
And it says everything about how much this means to Kettering that effectively Lee Harper rested his better players for a league game, a conference game at the weekend, to be ready for this.
Well, they're talking about it being the biggest game in the history, and you can see why he's gone as strong as he can. Kitson Bain comes in up front for Achikonda, who seems to have left the club by, I think they call it mutual consent.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's as strong as they can go, Kettering. It's all out tonight for a victory.
If it's anything like the first encounter, we're in for a treat. It was a good cup tie, wasn't it?
It was a really good cup tie. It was about Leeds having lots and lots of chances, not taking them. Kettering getting a goal through Big Ian Roper at the back, the big centre-half, who had a smashing day, I thought. Gets his head to the ball and gives them the lead. And I was just wondering at the time, have they almost scored too early? Are they going to be able to hang on against a Leeds team that's well set up, well drilled, and I think really well organised? And you can see this in the equaliser. It's lovely football at the way it's delivered, and I think that's a superb finish by young Jermaine Beckford, who sooner or later, for me, Matt, somebody is going to offer Uncle Ken upstairs a few quid for this kid and say we're going to take him on to bigger things.
We look forward to kick-off, which is not that far away. Next, we'll hear from the man who leads from the back for Kettering, Lee Harper, the Keeper manager, will give us his pre-match thoughts. And we'll hear from the Leeds boss, Simon Grayson. The managers are next. Welcome back. We are just under 10 minutes from kick-off here at Elland Road. Festive cheer in plentiful supply. The FA Cup, sponsored by Eon, offers hopefully a cracking second-round replay. Leeds and Kettering involved. Leeds manager Simon Grayson has had a word with Ned.
Simon, have you managed to avoid any mention of Old Trafford in the build-up to this match?
We certainly have, because we've had a lot of league games since the last game against Kettering, and we've been focused on them. Today the players are fully aware what they need to do. If they don't perform and we don't get the result, then there's no opportunity to go to Old Trafford. So we have to put in a professional performance, be very focused on what we need to do, and hopefully we get our quality come through and wins the game.
If you talk to the fans, if you read the local paper, they're licking their lips in anticipation. It's where this club feels it should be.
Yes, possibly, but it would be a massitive incentive for both clubs to try and get through there, because Man United, one of the biggest clubs in the country, and if they're not the world. We've had the rivalry for many years with them, and it wasn't so long ago that we were playing the likes of Manchester United on a regular basis. But we are in League One now, and we're there for a reason. We're trying to get out of that division, out this division as well. Obviously, we've got to concentrate on Kettering to eventually go and play Man United.
Good luck tonight, Simon.
Cheers, thank you.
Thank you. Very level-headed he seems, Simon Grayson. Got a staff around him, Glyn Snodding among others, that'll help him with this big club. What about Lee Harper at Kettering? Big job.
Lee, first and foremost, how's your back?
Back's good. Back's better than it has been. We're not quite sure what's going on in there, but I've had a chance to rest on Saturday, Friday, didn't do a lot of training.
The driving's not helping me, so we've sort of tried to really, cut the driving down and get out of the car a bit more. But the back's good.
So, as a player, you're fighting fit and raring to go, and as a manager, how are your team facing this up?
We know it's going to be an extremely difficult task, to come to a place like this. I think they've only lost 2 games all season, Liverpool and Millwall, and we know it's going to be an absolutely huge occasion for all of our team and all of our lads, and we just want to go out and give a good account of ourselves, try and keep it tight, hopefully, and see what that can bring.
Good luck to you, Lee.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Well, Lee says the warm-up and the back are good, but just a bit of wincing as we watch him get ready.
Well, I just wonder if it was one of those conversations where Lee Harper, the player, was asking Lee Harper, the manager, what do you think? The manager says, well, you've got to go with it. But no, he's going to have to come through it tonight. Interestingly enough, that Kettering have got 2 goalkeepers on their bench tonight, which makes me think he might not be 100%, and if they have to make a change, they've got some security there.
And at the other end of the pitch, you think set pieces would be key in terms of Kettering threatening Leeds?
I do, with Big Roper. If the delivery's right and the intention and determination are right from Kettering, particularly the Leeds goalkeeper in the first leg got caught in no man's land once or twice. They will have looked at that and they'll have seen that's a weakness.
Yeah, there are, I think, around about 1,100 that have come from Kettering to Elland Road tonight, and they'll need to make some noise, Rob. They're up against about 12,000 Leeds fans who are rather more used to these surroundings. But teams, as you can see, emerging here at Elland Road. Kick-off fast approaching. An FA Cup second-round replay with Old Trafford awaiting the winners. Live coverage when we come back.
Matt, good evening, thank you. Perhaps their biggest game ever. Kettering folk have seen promotions, they've seen cup glories aplenty over 137 years of history, but have they ever seen a single match which carries a one-off, life-changing prize as great as this one does? Their goalkeeper manager Lee Harper, aware of the singular vastness of this game and its consequences, rested his dodgy back at the weekend and rested several of his outfield big hitters. And he faces a new challenge tonight, a new personal challenge, because Argentine Luciano Becchio is fully fit now and starts for Leeds for the first time in more than 2 months. It amounts to a semi-final. For Leeds folk, a trip to Old Trafford is the ultimate in rivalrous journeys, a revisitation of history, ancient and reasonably modern, a glimpse of what they want back. For Kettering, it could change the entire shape of their currently insecure future. Andy Townsend, it is a very high-stakes cup tie.
Well, it certainly is, Peter, and if it's anything like the first time back in Kettering 10 days ago, we're in for a treat, because it had a bit of everything. It had lots of commitment from both sides, plenty of chances, a few heroic performances, goal-mouth scrambles, it had plenty. Now, I would expect Leeds United to be very much on the front foot tonight and take the game to Kettering, but they're plucky, they've got some resistance, and I'm looking forward to the game.
Dempster at the back of Becchio. Dempster was outstanding in the first game alongside Roper at centre-half. He's closest to Beckford, as he's going to have to be. One thing we have already this Tuesday evening that we had on Sunday last but one is the driving rain, which has arrived on cue. And Robert Snodgrass may be favourite to wrap his left foot around this set piece. Alongside him, Neil Kilkenny. It's in front of the goal, behind which those 1,100 Kettering supporters are ranged. The boss has erected a 4-man wall now. Doyle, Snodgrass, Kilkenny. Much too much space. Kettering got bodies around it and eventually conceded a corner last off Dempster.
It looked pretty obvious, Peter, didn't it? They took a long time to set that up. The referee held them, but it always looked like Houghton was going to spin out round the back and have a lot of time and space. That's exactly what happened. Need to sharpen up a little bit, Kettering, first few minutes.
Only forward from centre-half for the corner. Here's Kilkenny. And Snodgrass, and Beckford! And Harper's forward on it. Includes some wins at some fairly major clubs in their context. Beckford and Howson, and Becchio smashed it against Roper. It's broken for Elding, who's won it for Kitson-Bain.
It's twice it's gone into Kitson-Bain. He has to try and hold that up and allow his team to get out of their own 18-yard box. They're literally making no ground at all at the moment.
Ball from Snodgrass. Howson has his full-back overlapping. Kilkenny, lovely return. Neil Kilkenny. What a beautiful move. Silky smooth football from Leeds.
It is good football.
Davis. Stepped into by Hughes. Leeds have had 70% of the ball. Well, stats don't lie, certainly that one doesn't. That is a real reflection of the game so far.
Yeah, and I think they need to get little Richie Partridge involved in the game more, because he actually has got the ability to hang on to it, to look for a pass, to invite others to come and play and join in with him.
It was a Chester team last year that played Leeds in the League Cup and lost 5-2. Richie Partridge began his career at Liverpool. Here he is challenging Hughes and arriving rather late. Referees waved it on because it came to Kilkenny. He's drifted it towards Snodgrass. He squares up Taylor. Aims it in at Howson. And it was very adeptly steered away.
He's just having a word with Partridge here about that challenge. Come flying in, didn't he? Just a little bit late. He's just giving him a little verbal warning there.
So the travelling support is making itself heard at Elland Road, and determined to enjoy this evening, whatever becomes of it. Kettering have got through the first near quarter of an hour with nothing worse than a few alarms. Coaches have been streaming up the M1, as many in the away end at Leeds this evening, as very often there are altogether for a home game. Kettering forward by Becchio towards Beckford. Davis wanted the keeper and manager to come, but he didn't.
I think it was Roper getting a vital little nick on that, which just drifted the ball away from Beckford. He signals his strike partner Becchio. It was the right idea, and it was very close to dropping it into the perfect area for Beckford to get a strike on goals. He's just making all the signals from the bench, John Dean. He's just being told to calm down a little bit. Of course, Lee Harper, the manager, in the goals, and Dixie Dean doing everything, trying to encourage people to run into the right areas, realising, Peter, that you just cannot sit back and hope. You've got to have a bit of an attacking threat yourselves.
Thrown right by Doyle. It's come to Howson. Hughes and Doyle rather left it to each other, and Kettering were off the hook. It was interesting seeing John Dean told off by the fourth official. They're very old-fashioned manners. Saw him say sorry. They're sorry twice. You see that very often. Elding. Heslop. Still no way past Hughes. They just can't get Elding in. They can't get Partridge in. They can't give Bain a run. And Leeds keep bouncing back. Game played almost entirely in the Kettering half for the better part of 20 minutes now. But actually Lee Harper hasn't really had a save to make. Howson. Hughes. Snodgrass. Too much on it for Becchio, but helped on its way by Greg Taylor, and it's a Leeds corner.
Yeah, Greg Taylor saying there, look, I don't know if anyone's behind me, I can't leave it, I've got to put something on it, which he does. What they, as you said, Peter, in terms of going forward, they've not really posed any threat at all. What they are doing, they've got two solid banks of four. Every time Leeds get it, they're getting back behind the ball. And they're just trying to frustrate. And as that clock keeps ticking away, and it's 0-0, then they're doing their job.
Snodgrass with the take. Carried away by Lubisi. Bain is the lone chaser once more. White has time to sort it out. Doyle let it reach Snodgrass. And whom they're doubling up now, but even that's not enough. Snodgrass with the cross and Roper with the uncomplicated clearance. He is really influential on either flank, Robert Snodgrass. Free kick against White.
If you're under the cosh away from home in any match, what you do, you take the sting out of it, use the opportunity when the game is there to organise, have a bit of a breather, and maybe set something up, but you can't keep giving it back as it's coming straight back at you here.
Vecchio and Snodgrass away from Taylor, and the header is in from Luciano Vecchio. 20 minutes of domination and Leeds have the lead, which is the least they merit.
Yeah, and Kettering can have no complaints. It's a great goal, it's a good finish. Maybe a little bit disappointed as Snodgrass is able to duck back on his right foot there and still deliver the cross. It's a great finish from Vecchio. Lovely glancing header. Once you've got him going one way, you've got to try and prevent that cross from coming in. They don't. That's a smart finish, Peter, that really is. And that will relax the manager, I'm sure. That's just the tonic he needs.
Luciano Vecchio, a very first FA Cup goal, starting a game for the first time since the beginning of October. The 2009-10 FA Cup has a little bit of Argentine flavour. Leeds knocked out in the second round at Histon last year, in the first round by Hereford the year before, so they haven't played a third round tie since they last entered the competition at that stage in January of 2007. But they're dealing with this little potential problem with a degree of comfort which would concern Kettering and their followers. Here's Vecchio, and through by Kilkenny, and welcomed in by Beckford. Terrific spin and a very fine save from Harper.
Terrific save from the goalie, Peter. Spoke before the game about him having a bad back. Well, he gets down nice and smart there. Good football again from Leeds. Lovely one-touch stuff. It's good feed from Beckford. I actually fancied him to score. I thought he'd strike that into the corner, but that's a brilliant save from the boss.
I must say, I thought it was a certainty. Terrific save from Harper. Howson keep his team in the cup tie. They surely can't afford to go two down this early. Beckford toying with Davis, rolling it into Vecchio, hit by Snodgrass wide.
Well, we've seen that he can duck inside on his right foot. He can strike it if it's on his left.
And out comes Heslop. Kettering really needs something to lift them here, to convince them that they are part of this occasion, because they barely have been yet. Bucco. Just as if they're playing with an inferiority complex here, which was so absent when they played the first time.
They're almost afraid to actually push up and play in Leeds' half. This is the furthest up the park they've actually been. Because what that's doing is that's inviting Leeds, so they've got loads of ground whenever they win the ball back. And the blue shirts just aren't tight enough at the moment when Leeds are in possession. They've got to make life difficult for the home side. At the moment, they're standing off them. It's the best little passage of play they've had. This is much better. Need more of it.
Oh, well, it's come to Elding! Oh! Well, you have to say it was an heroic intervention from Lee Bromby going back. Elding, the former Leeds player, suddenly found the ball at his feet by pure accident.
It was. I just wonder if he was grappled with a little bit just there, half a hand round him, but he should still be doing better there, Elding. He's the wrong side of Bromby. He's cut across him. Just a little bit of contact, but not enough, really, to warrant a poor finish like that.
Doyle. Snodgrass. White. Snodgrass. And Beckford!
That's a miss for him. That's a big chance. That Harper's scrambling to his left-hand post. It's a decent ball in from Snodgrass. He doesn't really get the contact he's looking for. He almost misses it with the head, and one of those ones sometimes you see them, they come off the shoulder a little bit. Just doesn't really get enough on it. Still.
Snodgrass with the take. Taylor's partial clearance came back to Snodgrass, and then Kilkenny against Roper, lifted out by Nubissi, and Bain couldn't turn.
Just can't get hold of it, Kitson Bain. I mean, it's a difficult one that's coming into him. He's got a white shirt in front of him and one very close behind him, but I still think he can do a bit better for his team.
Kilkenny, oh, he's hit the post! What a fabulous strike. Back in by Snodgrass. What a pure hit, what a lovely hit.
Terrific strike.
Kilkenny again. Doyle. Becchio. He's thinking about it again. It's 3 cracks a goal in the game, Neil Kilkenny's had 2 in the last 30 seconds.
This is a great strike, Peter. He's having a look. He's really looking to clip it and find somebody. Too much room in front of him. He just pulls the trigger on his left foot. Harper's beaten. He's looking. He's actually wanting to find somebody. There's no one there, and he just decides to have a go. Let fly. Very nearly finding the corner of the goals.
Here's Kilkenny again, earning a corner. And there was just a bit of shape on it, Andy, as well, wasn't there? And he really had picked his spot just inside that post.
Be interesting if he's up against Darren Gibson at United in the next one, because he's got a shot on him as well.
Yeah, good shout. Kilkenny. In by Snodgrass and claimed by Lee Harper. We did actually once have a trial here at Leeds, Lee Harper, back at the start of the 90s when Howard Wilkinson was manager. Allowed him 3 days at Thorpe Arch. He got injured on the first. White hasn't played any league games yet this season, a teenager. He's had a few cup opportunities. On by Becchio. Oh, confusion. It came off the centre-half and was driven with pace by Howson. And Lee Harper is well within his rights to be bailing out or balling out his 2 defenders there who made right pig's breakfast of this.
They certainly did. Dempster and Taylor it is that don't really call for it, don't get it sorted out. Good hit from Howson, good stave again from the goalkeeper.
Kilkenny. Up in the air by Roper. Becchio has won it. And Nubissi has found touch. I would have thought Kettering would be quite happy to get through to half-time, just 1 behind.
Be delighted.
How can Kettering change the dynamic in the second half, Andy?
I would like to see them just put something in the box a little bit more. It doesn't have to be particularly pretty. I think they're trying to... It's encouraging to see them trying to play, but almost too much, almost in the wrong areas. Give Elding something to challenge Mikulik and Bromby for in the middle of that 6-yard box. Let's see Ankergren come flying off his line again and see how confident he is to come and get his hands on it. But at the moment, they just haven't really got themselves into a position where they can even throw anything in the box.
Foul on Snodgrass by Nubissi. Kasper Ankergren can't have had a quieter half of football this season. His opposite number, Lee Harper, has one more concern before the sanctuary of the dressing room.
Now this is vital, crucial. That Kettering concentrate here, tag people, get close to them, get very tight. Don't allow someone to wander off you and put it in the back of the net, not now.
There will only be time for this free kick. In the context of the game, this matters hugely. Kettering must keep it out to keep the tie alive. Snodgrass plays it in. And Roper did clear it, and there is the half-time whistle. And look, it's still only 1-0, and that being the case, the cup tie is still very much alive. Old Trafford is still very much available to all. Luciano Becchio's header brought the only goal of the game 20 minutes in. Leeds have been worth significantly more than that in terms of their domination, but Lee Harper's team are still in it, and Lee Harper is with Ned.
Well, Lee, you've had to weather a hell of a storm there, but 1-0, you'll take that, won't you?
Yeah, we're still in the game. Obviously, we're disappointed that we've conceded the goal. We spoke before about just defending our goal, and I'm not sure that John Dempster got caught out a little bit too far, but it's a great finish. We're still in the game.
if we can keep in it for another 20 in the second half and then have a real go in the last 20.
They need to pose a threat, if only for their self-confidence, don't they?
Yeah, we need to push on a little bit, but we know how difficult it's going to be. We don't want to get played around. They're a good side with good players, and we've got to try and stay in the game the first 20, then we'll have a real good go at the end.
Thanks, Lee. You've got a job to do. Thanks.
Well, all the while, it is 1-0. Kettering are in with a shout. Felt like the Alamo at times. We'll get Robbie Earle's thoughts on what we've seen so far. Leeds in front at the break. Kettering were a match for Leeds United in the first game at Rockingham Road. Tonight, though, it has been pretty much the home side all the way. Simon Grayson's team creating chance after chance, getting closer and closer. Lee Harper keeping his gloves warm until Luciano Becchio's header. 1-0 Leeds. And that is the half-time score here at Elland Road. Leeds in front, 1-0. Could have been, I would think, Robbie Earle, a couple more than that at least.
Yeah, it was very much like the first game at Rockingham Road, where Leeds had lots of chances. You wondered whether they're going to take one. It's been pretty much one-way traffic for much of the game, but they have got the important goal, and that'll give them some hope.
Heard Peter and Annie talking commentary about the width of the pitch. Leeds have exploited that, and the goal shows.
Especially down that left-hand side, White and Snodgrass in particular. We're going to have a look at the first goal, and as the ball's played in, it's Becchio who plays it 1-2 with Snodgrass. Snodgrass, who'd hit one or two crosses with his left foot into the first man, this time dipped onto his right foot, and it's a really, really good header by Becchio, because he just gets in front of his man just there, and he gets a good contact on the ball that's past Harper before he can move. And you know, they'll be disappointed catching, because there's, I don't know why, there's this magic number. Get to the first 20 minutes and you take your first big deep breath. Catching didn't do that, and Leeds have got themselves ahead.
Now, Jermaine Beckford, who scored in the first game, had chances tonight. Understand he's out of contract at the end of season. How valuable might he be?
I like his movement off the ball. I think he's a boy with a lot of talent. You say that he runs out of contract supposedly in the summer, so could be shot window unless they do some business and get him signed up. This, I think he should have done better. Great turn, doesn't get the power on the ball. Again here, not the contact he'd like, unlike Becchio, who found the corner. And again, this is what he does well, gets away from defenders. Unfortunately for him, shot straight at Harper, but he's a threat off the ball, got real pace, and I expect him to maybe get himself a goal second half.
Kettering had one little sniff, didn't they, of goal. Anthony Elding breaks upon a loose ball.
I talked about Kettering having maybe one or two chances in the game. When they come, you've got to take them. I thought Elding does well to go across Bromby. He's got to hit the ball earlier. I'm going to credit Bromby because he does quite well. He makes a little bit of body contact there, just slows the striker down, and then there's a big enough challenge to put him off. But I said about John Deans and Lee Harper's side, if you get one or two, you've got to take them.
Yes, absolutely. Can you see a way back for Kettering here?
Well, they've got to be a bit more adventurous. They've got to push on. As Lee Harper was saying, they might leave it to the last 20 and then go kitchen sink, but full-backs have got to get forward. Wide men have got to have more input in the game.
Thank you for the moment to Robbie. Let's check on what's happening elsewhere in the FA Cup this season.
Danny Thomas comes on for Kidson Bain, who was largely ineffectual, not necessarily through his own fault. Thomas, the former Leicester player. Incidentally, talking of Leeds Cup win in '72, they marked some people here yesterday the 12th anniversary of the death of the man who lifted the cup that year, Billy Bremner, whose statue is outside Elland Road and who led Leeds to a couple of titles and that FA Cup and a League Cup and the Fairs Cup. Died 12 years ago yesterday, and it just seems to have flown by the intervening period. Leeds were great then, and they aspire to being great again. And if they see through the next 45 minutes with common sense, Andy Townsend, then Simon Grayson and his team will have a flavour of that potential greatness again, and that lovely trip to Old Trafford. There's no reason why it should go wrong for Leeds.
Not at all. Not the way they've approached the game tonight. They've been comfortable in possession, had lots of the ball. It got in good areas as well. As interesting to hear Eddie Gray there saying, you know, one or two of the crosses from the wider area could have been better. Yes, they could have, but they created chances. And yeah, concentration is right. They just defend it well. You'd like to think that the midfield players and those front runners will have more opportunities.
Danny Thomas, who's come on, is appearing to operate wide on the left, leaving Elding perhaps a little more isolated. And is that how you read the change?
Well, it doesn't surprise me. I said just before half-time, I think that it's dangerous if they were continuing to play 4-4-2, Kettering, and allowing Leeds to go and get a second, then maybe a third. It's no real surprise to see John Dean maybe just add another body in the middle of the park and leave Elding as a bit of a lone ranger up there, and then maybe, as the goalkeeper said, Lee Harper said as well as he was going off at half-time, 10 or 15 minutes to go, then really have a full tilt at it.
It's Thomas who can. Snodgrass. Touched on for Doyle!
Unlucky. Normal service has been resumed, I think, Peter.
Just as throughout the first half, start of the second half, one half of the field seems entirely obsolete. Beckford, Kilkenny. Snodgrass, beautifully done. Kilkenny. And Becchio! Oh, how has that stayed out? Via the inside of the post and via a twitch of Harper's chest. He had to score. Now here's Heslop. Snodgrass. Becchio. Snodgrass. Taylor can clear. Kilkenny. And Beckford! Kettering are still in the game.
They're hanging on by their fingertips. They really are. I mean, Becchio should score. It's a great little stand-up from Kilkenny. He does everything right. It's just hit the post full on, and Harper didn't know a thing about it. Just bounced off him.
Header out by Elding. Thrashed back in by Doyle. And over the top. And Beckford has a birthday tomorrow, turns 26. In his prime. I wonder whether or when that big move will come. Here's Thomas. Beyond Elding, and Partridge was within a hair's breadth of getting there before White.
And that's the first time, really, in the entire game we've seen Kettering get into an area. What Danny Thomas has done is just tease the fullback. He just put something in that 6-yard box. Go on, go and attack it. And get those Leeds shirts running back towards their own goal.
In front of their own supporters now, Kettering to lift themselves. Partridge heaves it in. Ankergren was struggling. Steered out as far as Nubisi, who overcooked his pass. John Dean, the assistant. Lee Harper have slightly reshuffled for Kettering, but they're under the cosh again here. It's Kilkenny. And now Beckford, surely. Oh, Harper's behind it.
But what's happened is Nubisi and Buko are now the two anchoring Kettering midfield players. Heslop is now in a position where he can push forward. He does have good energy. He can cover the ground to join him with Elding.
Over the top by Buko. Slightly awkward for Mikulik, but he read it well. Played by Hughes. Passed upon by Davis. Nubisi. Buko. Drifted over the top towards Elding. There's Partridge. And going to get at Elding, and Heslop round the back. Taken off his forehead by retreating Hughes. But here's Thomas. Signs of greater adventure from Kettering now.
Much better, much better.
Nubisi. There's no point dying wondering. And terrific vocal support again from the 1100 who've travelled north. But when they go forward, there's always the danger they'll be picked off at the back. Here's Snodgrass. Kilkenny. Doyle taken off it by Thomas, who judged his tackle well, has Elding ahead of him and Heslop. Snodgrass tackled back and took enough of the ball for the referee, who in fairness was very well stationed. In by Howson, wide from Beckford. Lifted in by Snodgrass. Up goes Becchio, away by Thomas. Partridge slithered but got up in time. Heslop trying to play him in behind the fullback, but White has recovered and has now gone down. And Leeds need to make a change here. Might be out for a little while longer now. But here comes Capaldi. News from Ned by the side of the bench in a moment, but Elding is onside here, having been played through by Heslop. It's Anthony Elding for Kettering. And Heslop lost it beneath his feet after Partridge had made no contact at all.
It's a great move, Peter. Terrific play, and Heslop is the man who's making all the difference. It's his ball that found Elding. He's now looking for support. He pops it into Partridge. It's come at him a bit quick. Heslop just manages to get a foot on it and force the corner, but much, much better. You're absolutely right. You only get one opportunity to come to Elland Road and have a go. Don't miss it.
Now they are having a go. Ankergren punches, comes out to Bucco. Now here's Heslop again. He's won a corner. They are having a go now. It's taken the best part of an hour, but Kettering are in the game. By now they could very comfortably be out of it. They could be over the hills and far away, Leeds, but there's only one goal in it, and Kettering are suddenly interested. Let's finish that news flash, by the way. Aidan White, just a tight calf. He'll be okay. It was precautionary. Partridge with the corner. And again, Richie Partridge had his ankle tapped. Free kick.
It's exactly what he did in the first leg, Peter, little Richie Partridge. He teased people, he's got good close control. Now it's Snodgrass who's getting a yellow card.
He evidently feels it's a shade harsh, certainly a free kick. Snodgrass is in the book, and more pertinently in the immediate term, Kettering have a free kick in front of 1,000 noisy folk from Northamptonshire. In by Partridge. It's come out to Bucco. In your dreams, son. Been famous games between Leeds and non-league teams down the years. Perhaps the most famous, January '75, Johnny Giles' deflected shot at Selhurst Park enabled them to see off Southern League Wimbledon. After Dickie Guy's penalty save from Peter Lorimer here forced that replay. There have been others since then. Here's Heslop. Away from Mikulik. Elding's through the middle. Thomas is wide. Heslop's got himself. He's found Partridge here for Kettering. It's Richie Partridge. Must be Elding. 1-1. Now it's a cup tie. Game on! Who wants Old Trafford? Anthony Elding, the one-time Leeds United centre-forward, has come back to Elland Road and scored the goal of his dreams.
Simon Heslop, Peter, has been terrific since the start of the second half. He has drove at those white shirts. I think everyone was begging Partridge to stand it. He does it beautifully. And Elding, he can't miss. It's on a plate. It's a great run from Heslop. Now you need the quality. He didn't have it from the free kick just now. Now he finds it. And Kettering are right back in the tie. Brilliant finish.
Look at John Dean's reaction. You're never too old to feel the special FA Cup moment. Anthony Elding's only previous goal here was scored in a League One defeat by Cheltenham in March 2008. He last appeared here in a Leeds shirt against Gillingham in May of that year, and he last played here for Crewe last season and lost 5-2. His 6 months at this club weren't especially happy ones. His return to this club is a night that whatever happens now, he will never forget.
Well, it was a brilliant change, whether it was John Dean or the manager that did it at half-time, but there's Elding, he's delighted with the finish. but they've got it spot on. Shored up the middle of the park. All of a sudden, Doyle and Kilkenny aren't able to have quite so much room.
In every area, Kettering have found a yard. Let's get down and hear from John Dean. He's with Ned.
John, yeah, different game suddenly.
Yeah, you know, we made a tactical change at half-time and it suited us a little bit more. We managed to get a little bit more support to the front, and obviously we've managed to conjure up a goal from somewhere. You know, Leeds look still very dominant in the game. Plenty of football yet to play in this one. We're probably about as good as we can be at the moment now.
Half an hour is what you had to see out in the last game, and it felt like longer than half an hour. This is going to be a long half hour.
Well, we're hoping to try and score again, probably, that's why.
Good luck, John. Well done.
Cheers.
Well, suddenly they do believe all things are possible. Anthony Elding a year or two back was in the Stockport team, knocked out by Staines. He knows about the FA Cup and its ups and downs and its weird occurrences. He scored 3 FA Cup goals before the one tonight, all of them for Stevenage Borough. One of them was against his current boss for Stevenage against Northampton back in December 2005. And another of them, oddly enough, was for Stevenage at Kettering. And here he has scored one of the more famous goals in Kettering Town's history at Elland Road, Leeds, at Old Trafford, Waits. They can't print the programme yet.
Sudden, Peter, Simon Grayson's the manager, maybe thinking about a change or two, something to just spark his team back into life, something to give John Dean to think about.
Nubisi. Thomas, Elding, Heslop wants it, Partridge wants it wide. It's Richie Partridge, and in comes Thomas. It's a good claim by Ankergren.
Yeah, just hanging out there a little bit too much from Richie Partridge, that one, just not flat enough, not quick enough the delivery, giving the goalie time to wander off his line and claim it.
Incidentally, Leeds' scheduled League One fixture for the first weekend of 2010 is supposed to be at Tranmere. They'd rather go to Old Trafford. Beckford, always dangerous. Rolled out by Taylor. Partridge. Taylor. Bromley's back pass. Elding's in and Ankergren's out. And it's not just that Kettering are growing, it's that Leeds, understandably, are a little twitchy now. Thomas. He's kept it from Hughes, and he's kept it in.
Never had the strength to deliver it. Great though, great to see him enjoying it as well now. Nothing better in a situation, Peter, when you're an underdog in a big cup tie, and you feel like you've gotten rattled a little bit, feel 10 feet tall.
They are enjoying it. They suddenly look as though they think they belong. Get carried away with these things. It is only fair to report, if you're just joining us, that for the first hour Kettering got away with it. They really did. Only 1-0 down, but suddenly they found themselves. Tactical change at half-time, change of mindset, and now they're a yard quicker, a pound stronger, and everywhere on the field just noticeably more confident around the ball. Heslop. The back pass that just about had the legs. Snodgrass. Capaldi. Beckford! Deflected wide.
Just wonder, Peter, whether or not Snodgrass really was in the better position to get the shot away. It's just gone behind Jermaine Beckford a little bit. If he just drops it for Snodgrass there, maybe the midfield player's in a better position. I think he is.
Suddenly it has dawned upon the Leeds supporters, suddenly caught behind that goal, that their team need lifting. thought of a trip to Old Trafford being snatched away is a painful thought. Snodgrass with the corner. It came out to Kilkenny, and it reached Becchio before he knew it.
Tell you what, if Becchio just flicks that, if he gets something on it, past the goalkeeper in a flash.
Just more than a quarter of an hour to play, or we have extra time. Buko.
Well played. Very well played.
Thomas, who has played in the Premier League, made his debut for Leicester. Did Thomas 10 years ago this month. Spread well by Nubisi. Elding. Aimed in at Partridge. And behind. Luciano Becchio has finished his shift. The last quarter of an hour will go to Trésor Kandol, the Congolese striker. Here is Kandol. Helped on its way by Howson. Moved on by Kilkenny. Drifted in by Hughes. Howson tried something. Driven in, and Harper got a hand on it. That was just about strong enough. He looked nervously behind him.
He certainly did. I just thought maybe Beckford or someone might have flown in towards the goalkeeper for the pieces. Anything, it's a great strike from Kilkenny. Harper just about doing enough.
Snodgrass with the corner. Out by Heslop. Good ball for Capaldi. And his ball forward was no less sloppy. And it's come to Partridge. Heslop. Buko. He's had a fanciful try. It was closer than the last one. Singing again is from Kettering's Barmy Army. Days like this are to be cherished. Buko. One moment probably wins the tie now. Heslop. Whose moment is it to be? Nubisi. Davis. Referee's waved it on. Advantage accruing to Leeds and to Beckford. Jermaine Beckford shaped one wide. Capaldi. And Snodgrass. And Kilkenny. And Beckford. And Snodgrass. And in goes Dempster.
How well has he played, Dempster, Peter? I think he's been terrific.
Hoisted in again by Capaldi. One aerially by Mikulik. Back in by Capaldi. Here is Mikulik. And Doyle. And Snodgrass wins another corner. 2 minutes to play. Or 32. Cup tie on the very edge, tantamount to a semi-final. And Kandol was up.
I think that's his first touch in the game, Peter, and it's a big opportunity. It's a drilled corner. Kandol's got no one near him. Not a soul picking him up. Right in the middle of the 6-yard box. He's got to hit the target. The fact that he's only just come onto the field really in the last 4 or 5 minutes, I'm afraid he's not a good enough excuse.
They ended the first half with a free kick. They're ending the second half with a corner. This to break poppy hearts. That's off the line by Buko. Mikulik. Capaldi. And down for Beckford and wide. Well, there is your hero. His name is Andre Bucco.
I think it's Kando gets the climb. It's a great header. That is what you have people on the post for. How many times over the years we've seen people wander away from the post and the ball fly in the corner of the goals? Wow.
There is more. Wait your turn, Manchester United. Wait your turn, Old Trafford. There is drama still to be had at Elland Road, courtesy of an equaliser on the hour from Leeds United old boy Anthony Elding. 1-1, extra time follows.
Well, hands up, who thought we'd have extra time tonight? And here we are, Leeds and Kettering at it again. Back to Andy and Peter for extra time.
When the FA Cup is in this mood, you just can't get enough of it. And Kettering, via their heroic second-half effort, after a rather tame entrance in the first half, have earned us half an hour's more entertainment and will have their eyes on the prize once again. Still, each side has only made one change over the course of an hour and a half's football. Half an hour more, Andy Townsend. Do you dare suggest what might happen?
Well, I just wonder whether John Dean feels that his team have it within their capabilities to pour forward and maybe create another opportunity or two, or whether they're going to frustrate those two banks of four now, get behind and really deny Leeds any opportunities and take it all the way, Peter, to penalties.
Howson, Beckford, Kandol. Kilkenny. Doyle. Oh, it's a really good ball for Snodgrass, but his ball for Beckford wasn't as good and Roper got back.
I tell you what, that is a really poor delivery because it's excellently engineered by Kilkenny and Doyle. And you know what, Snodgrass can take a touch, he can drag it along the byline, he can just pick somebody out. No need to do it first time.
One again by Dempster, Bucco, Thomas, Heslop. He's confident, away from Doyle. Elding wants it played into his corridor. Partridge has gone wide. Bissi through the middle. Bucco, good ball retention from Kettering. Thomas. Bissi beaten to it by Mikalik. Davis. Bissi again, crashed into by Doyle. And now Leeds counter with Snodgrass and Kandol. And Snodgrass. Oh, he's hit the crossbar, and Howson. And away by Roper, and Snodgrass again. And Harper's got a fist on it, and Snodgrass again. What a sequence of events. It's just a crazy cup tie, this.
At last he gets his hands on it, the goalie. He's unlucky, Snodgrass, there, he really is. It's a sort of cross-come shot, really, that always sees Harper scrambling. You watch the goalkeeper here. He knows it's not beyond it. He can't get it. He's praying that that's going to find the woodwork. So fortunate that it does.
Well, the little lad who hugged the touchline, Richie Partridge, has run his race and is being withdrawn for the remainder of extra time. He was particularly fun to watch at Rockingham Road 10 days ago. And he is replaced by a sturdier individual, a solid citizen, Darren Rack, 33 now, a decade, as I say, at Walsall, with whom he reached the 5th round a couple of times. Had his upsets as well. He was in a Walsall team that lost at Slough 6 years ago, but now he attempts to create an upset. Going down to the bench now, and Ned is with Richie Partridge. Ned.
Well, Richie, explain the transformation. Chalk and cheese, isn't it, between your first half performance and what we're seeing now?
Yeah, definitely. First half, we were right under the cosh. Could hardly get over our own half, let alone create half a chance. Second half, made a change. Probably suited us a little bit better sticking Hezzy up top, myself and DT on the wing. So worked in our favour. They've still had chances, but we managed to stick one away against the run of play.
Still a bit of time on the clock. What's going through the lads' minds now with that big prize at stake?
Yeah, for now, I think the lads, if you look on the pitch, there's a few tired legs out there. They've had, I'd be surprised if they had less than 70% of the possession. So our legs are starting to go. If we can hold out for the next 20 minutes or so, and bring it to penalties, well then it's just a lottery. And I think at this moment in time we'd take that.
Are you glad you're out of the mix for penalties if it goes to that?
No, to be honest with you. I quite like being put in that situation, so a little bit disappointed if it did go to penalties, but every faith in the lads if it does.
Good stuff. Thanks, Richie.
Cheers, mate.
What do you think, Andy? If Kettering were offered penalties now, would they take them?
Yeah, definitely. Yes, they would, Peter. Richie Partridge is very honest there. His assessment, there are one or two that are getting tired. And of course, all the pressure would be on Leeds United.
On the rack, but surviving. Kilkenny. Dabbed in by Snodgrass, and Snodgrass drove off the back of Beckford's adept return pass.
He had good opportunity, he had Capaldi outside him as well. No real complaints though this time. I think you bump a little 1-2 like that, you're entitled to have a go. Just tired legs and the quality of the strike not good enough.
Oh, God bless the FA Cup. It doesn't know when to leave centre stage. It drags us on and on through the drama. And Kettering will get at least one more act at Elland Road, whose patrons are finding life painful. Lee Harper's team went through 15 minutes without concession. And now he has to find words, and they have to find energy where perhaps, Andy, there is little.
Yeah, now though, Peter, I think even the Leeds players will be very much thinking about penalties. You know, they will now feel that as much as they want to go and knock one in themselves, they're mindful of the fact that any mistakes at the back could also be very costly. So all the players out there now are starting to think about penalties, and those that know they're going to be taking one just start to feel the pressure a bit more.
Well, let's hear what the other guys think. Matt and Robbie are down on the touchline. Matt?
Well, I think it's a cracking game, don't you, Rob?
That's been unbelievable, hasn't it? And well, from the second half onwards, Leeds have looked nervous, they've looked edgy, people have sort of hit at times, not wanted the ball, and you know, Kettering have grown, and once they got the goal, you know, at one point they were looking as though they may go on and get a winner.
Going to bring Mike Greller on, who was impressive when he played in that first game, just perhaps looking for a little bit more creativity in the last third.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say Jermaine Beckford's gone out of the game. He's lost a little bit of his confidence, no conviction with anything he's doing, just looking for another body up front maybe to spark things. Obviously at this stage I think Simon Grayson wants to win the game, doesn't want to go to what could be a lottery in the penalties.
It's looking that way though, isn't it? It just has that about it, this game.
Yeah, you just feel that Kettering are going to sit in there now for 15 minutes. I mean, Roper, I don't know how he's still moving in the game, but he's been magnificent at the back. They're just going to stay there for 15 minutes and see if they can see their way through to penalties.
Well, what else can happen here tonight? We only had 2 goals, could have had about 20, 18 of them at least for Leeds, and yet it's still 1-1. And here we go again with Andy and Peter.
Yes, Matt, change each here. A change each. Greller has come on, as you were mentioning, in place of Hughes, and Lee Fowler has come on in place of Patrick Nubisi for Kettering. And in both cases, I wouldn't be at all surprised if that was with penalties in mind.
Definitely, Peter. You want people out there now that are going to be confident enough to step up to the spot and be able to deliver. So quite clearly there's 2 changes with that in mind.
Lee Fowler can. He took the penalty at Cardiff, which won promotion for Huddersfield Town a year or 2 back. He has taken the ultimate pressure penalty. And he will try to, in the meantime, absorb some of the workload in midfield for Kettering. Kilkenny. Bromley's gone to right back for Leeds. Greller and Howson. Bromby and Grella, and over. This time Snodgrass again. Rolled out by Fowler for Rack. Hit early at Heslop.
Of course, Leeds now playing very much with three at the back. Bromby split and gone over to the right back position. We saw Grella in the first time, Peter, very good in the hole. Plays just off the front, guys. Always available, always looking for it, and does have real quality.
Capaldi. Snodgrass. Nicked on by Grella. Howson. Set back for Doyle. In again by Capaldi. Out again by Roper. Kilkenny. And Bromby. He's ridden the tackle. He surged through another one. Bromby's still going. And Grella scores! The place explodes with relief. It's the native New Yorker, Mike Grella, who finally has Leeds back in front.
Well, it's a great substitute, it's a great change. Danny Thomas is unlucky because he's fighting away and it slides away from him, and they're just slow to react. For the first time all night, really, the blue shirts don't recover. They don't smell the danger quick enough. Grella's just in a little bit of space, and it's too late, and it's smashed in the back of the net before they can get a block in. They've thrown themselves at everything all night, Kettering, but they've just given Grella a yard of space in such a dangerous area, and he's punished them.
He scored in the first round at Oldham, and now Mike Grella has a second round goal, which might very well take Leeds to Manchester United. Fowler. Candle. Snodgrass. That's done it. Trésor Candle, 2 goals in a minute. Leeds are home and dry and preparing to cross the Pennines. No twitchy penalties, wide smiles. Lee Harper's Braves are beaten.
That's a decent ball in as well from Snodgrass this time. It's a teasing ball. He goes at Taylor and he just clips it up, and that's the sort of delivery. But Kando up against Sol Davis at the back post. There's only one winner. It's a great ball in. Harper can't come and really get it. And before he reacts, it's into the back of the net. It's game, set, and match.
Surely no way back now for Trésor Candle. The first FA Cup goal since he got 2 for Barnet in a similar sort of tie at Gainsborough in November 2006. But the prize this time is a bigger one. You feel some sympathy for Kettering, the emotional side of you does. Your heart says, hard luck, Lee Harper, but your head says, it was coming. Those are the hard facts. Those are the hard facts. Beckford greedy for more. Candle through the middle. Kettering out for the count. It's Jermaine Beckford! Terrific save from Harper. He's not about to lie down. Flag was up once it came back out.
It's a great run from Beckford. That is when he's at his very best, when he's left Roper for dead, and then he's turning and running at people, and he forces another great stop from Harper. And maybe the manager, but as a goalie and as a teammate, he's been terrific over the 2 legs.
Leeds then, assuming no catastrophe now, will visit Manchester United for the first time in just less than 6 years. Bucco. Dempster. was Roper, and now he's got to get all the way back. Forward by Fowler. Oh, Elding's offside. Got away from him anyway.
Lucky, decent ball from Fowler as well. Yet again, Elding putting the leg work and the lung work in. I'm not sure, by the way, at the top of the... it's tight, possibly. It's close. Didn't get the benefit there. It was always a difficult one for him to get hold of.
Suddenly they are marching on together. Kettering have contributed so much to the whole occasion over 2 separate days. Such a shame for them that they don't get their massive payday, their bigger day in the limelight. Recent years from the conference, Burton and Exeter. Well, there's a decent drive from Heslop. Burton and Exeter both got games against Manchester United in the Cup, Andy, when they were out of the league. And there are those in non-league circles I've talked to through the early rounds of the Cup who said that there is a direct correlation between their games against Manchester United and their subsequent promotion into the league. That's how much difference it can make.
That's how much it can mean to the smaller clubs, yep, for sure. Nobody can deny Kettering in terms of the way that the effort they've given, the application they've given to the 2 matches. They've been wonderful, they really have.
Here's Rack. Elding. Steered out by Capaldi. Mikalik. Oh, it's come through for Beckford. Flag is down. Jermaine Beckford eventually got his shot away, but hit Taylor. Grella. Oh, that is a special goal. That is a terrific goal. Mike Grella has changed the game. He has certainly given it its crowning glory. They're crossing the Pennines in style. 4-1.
That's a great finish, Peter. He does have real class, real quality, this guy. I was a bit surprised he never started. Lovely little step over. As much as Sol Davis tries to cover the ground and get back onto that far post. No, it's too good. It's always beating him. It's a brilliant goal. Yeah, he's got a little bit more room perhaps than he would have had an hour ago, of course. Nonetheless, you've still got to convert that, Peter. That's a really, really good finish.
Well, Leeds United, who scored a total of 2 goals in the first 3 hours of the tie against Kettering, have just scored 3 in the last 7 minutes, which has to do with fatigue, and a team which has given everything and has nothing more to give. Andy, your Eon-sponsored FA Cup man of the match.
Well, I tell you, there's been some good performances. Dempster, I think, has been excellent at the back. I think Kilkenny for Leeds has played very well. But you know what? I'm going to give it to the boss. I'm going to give it to Lee Harper, because he's turned up here tonight with a bad back, doubts about whether or not he'd play. I think he's made some great saves, kept his team in it at times. Over the 2 legs, he's been heroic. He maybe just deserved a little bit better. He's not going to have the tie of his life against Manchester United, but he can have a bottle of champagne on me.
Good shout. Kilkenny. Finally, Leeds can showboat a bit. A bit of Olay, and here comes Grella, and there's Candle, and Beckford has his goal, and Leeds have 5. Unthinkable they get 5 and he didn't get 1 of them.
I suppose he's deserved that tonight. He has had opportunities. Is he offside there? Possibly half a yard. Gets a left foot on it, stabs it past the goalkeeper. Really, Peter, you couldn't point the finger at the goalie for any of them. They're just tired legs, and Kettering have just run their race completely over the last 10 minutes or so. It's a shame that result looks like a pounding. It certainly wasn't, not for a long spell.
Well, you'll have to look at the small print to see how it really worked out. When it's written down in some dusty book that you'll pick up off the shelf in years to come. It'll say 5-1, but it'll say 5-1 italics AET.
Yeah.
And you'll think, how did that happen? They're waving goodbye, but they're doing so in good spirits. He's back in front, scored again. Two strikers got one each as well, and all is finally well. Leeds will be marching on together. Stand by, Old Trafford. Leeds are coming back. It will be just like the old days. The classic Trans-Pennine rivalry, rejoined at the start of 2010. Kettering go back to their grim political plight, to their day-to-day business below stairs, to the wistful dreams of what might have been. Simon Grayson and Leeds can dream of what still might be. Those Kettering supporters and the team they so proudly support took Leeds right to the wire. It wasn't until stoppage time, until extra time, in the second tie that Mike Grella finally took them away. Candle and Beckford scored as well after Becchio had got the original goal. Much pride for Kettering though, and their manager and man of the match, Lee Harper, who is with Ned.
Lee, you look exhausted. Can you smile despite that?
Not really. I'm absolutely gutted, you know. I don't think the lads deserved that. I mean, they took their chance as well. I'm just so gutted because we were 10, 12 minutes away from going to penalties. Second half, I thought we were fantastic. Probably their fitness told in the end a little bit. You know, we had so many tired legs out there, had to make the changes, and it unsettled us a little bit. But you know, over the two legs, I think they probably deserved to win.
And what Leeds did to you in the last 10 minutes is a testament of how good a side they can be and how much of an effort it was to contain them over the best part of 3.5 hours of football.
Yeah, I mean, they're sitting top of that division by 6 points or whatever it is. They've only lost to Liverpool and Millwall this season. For us to hold them for so long, you know, we're just obviously, I'm gutted, really gutted that we haven't gone to penalties. I was hoping it was going to go to penalties, you know, and for the fans, have been absolutely fantastic. They've come up and followed us and supported us, and you know, I thought we were there. So I'm really, really gutted.
Lee, you've just received very, very warm applause from the Leeds United fans up here, and that will mean something because it's testament to the fact that you and your team have done yourselves proud, and you are the man of the match. So if you can stomach the champagne, go and enjoy it. Well done.
Thanks very much. Cheers. Thank you.
You get the feeling if it had gone to penalties, he just might have played a blinder. As it is, strangely, bizarrely, they've been hammered in the end, having been right in it in that second half. Leeds, the winners. We will discuss all that we've seen with Robbie and, of course, get more reaction from those involved. Leeds go to Old Trafford, 5-1 winners after extra time.
Well, Simon, many congratulations. A fantastic-looking scoreline, but that wasn't the story of the game, was it?
No, it certainly wasn't. Kettering were outstanding again tonight. We had enough chances to have won by that scoreline over the course of the game, but hitting the post, Lee making some good saves again. Got sloppy second half, which wasn't good enough, and allowed Kettering to get back into the game and took us the full length with 90 minutes. And I think just over, when going to extra time, our sort of fitness told and our quality told. But we're through, and that's the main thing.
It's a great compliment to your side that when you have a kind of profligate evening like that, when you do waste chances, you're composed and you stick to what you know you can do and don't really panic, do you?
Well, we try and do that, but I think first half and probably the course of the second half, we didn't have enough quality going into the box, kept on hitting the first man or things being cleared. But we do stick to our principles of trying to get the ball out wide and passing it around. Tonight we've got 5 goals. And we're through to the next round.
And now you can use the word Manchester United and Old Trafford. Now that's no longer illegal.
Well, we can use it, yeah, but now we've got to concentrate on Brentford at the weekend. Everybody will be talking about the Man United game, and rightly so, but we've got a lot of league games in between that game, and we all have to keep our eyes totally focused on what we need to achieve for the league as well.
Well done tonight, son.
Cheers, thank you.
Well, we mentioned before the game, Rob, that he doesn't lose his cool too much, Simon Grayson. No. He doesn't go too many highs and lows. However, he got a bit irritated during the second half.
We saw him once or twice, throwing the chewing gum, stamping around. one or two of his staff had said actually that they could feel, they could sense equaliser was coming, and you did as you were sitting there, that Leeds lost a lot of confidence in that second half, and that'll be the one thing that will worry Simon, but you know, to their credit, created a load of chances.
Yeah, they did, and just needed a finish, and in the end, Mike Grella provided.
It was interesting that the sub came on, and in some ways the sub didn't buy into the pressures that everybody else was under. He turned, you see, his lovely free movement, hits a ball at goal, the first striker in the second half of the game for Leeds who hit it with any kind of conviction. I mean, Bromby does really well to get the ball into him. It's a great turn and a lovely strike just to get them in. And then you just felt that everybody started to relax. Everybody started to believe then that they could go on and get the victory.
Strange, isn't it, what goals do, what the goal did for Kettering and what that goal did for Leeds. Suddenly everybody wants the ball again, everybody wants to score.
Everybody's a yard quicker, you know, everybody's tails up, and as you say, then the goals started to rattle in. They did create the chance, you'd have to say. It must have been about 20 chances they created. Lovely ball there from Snodgrass, who hadn't put that kind of quality in all game, but this is one of them that says head me in. It's an invitation for Candle, who this time doesn't let him down, and at 3-1 then they're flying. And
how about this one?
This is brilliant. I mean, great for Leeds. I'll tell you what, great for USA as well. Maybe if Mr. Capello's watching, he might just say that, be careful for the Americans. I mean, that's a wonderful finish. And as I say, Grella came on with a real nice spirit about him in a free play. And Jermaine Beckford, who I was thinking, he's never going to score today. I mean, give him a bit good mention earlier in the game. I mean, there is some doubt whether he was onside here. The ball comes across as it's played here. He's just ahead, is he level?
Yeah, he's offside.
To me, he's ahead of the last defender. He'll maybe say he deserves that little bit. Look, the amount of chances he got in there today, but at 5-1, it slightly flattered Leeds, I'd have to say.
It did, and you could understand the dejection of Lee Harper at the end. He just felt penalties were on the cards. I mean, he played it more than his part, didn't he, both games?
His team gave him everything, as he'd done himself. I mean, you know, it's difficult to be, you know, a goalkeeper as well as I talked about a manager, but you know, to do both jobs, to play the way he has. I think quite rightly Andy Townsend just gave him the man of the match. I mean, the pressure this fella was under during the game, but dealt with things. This I really like. Look at him. You get yourself sorted, having a go at the referee, having a go at the defenders, you know, goalkeeping and managing at the same time. Wonderful one-handed save against Beckford. The disappointment was written all over his face as he walked up this tunnel. He was desperate to get to Old Trafford with his team.
Must.
Used to call me for the